So, good morning and welcome to Rome, and particularly to this meeting of today's conference. That is a pleasure for me to open. I am the president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, and it is a pleasure to have this experience of cooperation with the NCCR in Basel, and particularly with Professor Ralf Stutzki. And we arrived at the third meeting, the third event of this Ethics of Engineering Life. So it is a good opportunity to spend 2 days of discussion, dialogue, to analyze the big question that is the title of this meeting. Quid est homo, qui est homo. So we use the Latin expression that is in touch with the long tradition that is still present. Quid est homo, particularly now that we have the development of science, biology, technology, we call engineering life. It is a good opportunity to enter at a more deep reflection on this question, and to have a more complete, large view of all aspects of a human being. So many thanks to everybody that for your presence, your work, to the speakers, of course, and to all moderators that were involved in more active role. And I introduce Ralf Stutzki for the introduction of more to the topics, and also some practical things that we like to manage for these 2 days, and can offer the atmosphere of a positive dialogue, and to have good outcomes of our meeting. Please, Ralf.
Thank you, Renzo. Well, dear colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure and honor to welcome you to the third International Conference on the Ethics of Engineering Life. I welcome you personally on behalf of the NCCR Molecular Systems Engineering in Switzerland, which is a research consortium headed by the University of Basel and ETH Zurich. First of all, my sincere thanks go to the president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, Don Renzo Pegoraro, for many years of friendship and also cooperation in our Engineering of Life ethics think tank in Basel, and also for co-hosting this conference. My thanks also go to the director of the NCCR Molecular Systems Engineering, Professor Thomas Ward, who is with us here for the next 2 days, for his long-standing support for our ethics initiative in Basel, as well as to the members of the organizing and scientific committees for their dedication in preparing this meeting. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to the more than 300 participants from 46 countries who will be joining us online in the coming days. Your presence reminds us that the questions we are addressing here are not just confined to one place, or one culture, or one religion. They concern all of us, humanity as a whole. Throughout the program, the online community is invited to post your questions in the chat, and our team will moderate them and bring them into the discussion whenever possible. Let me also express my deep gratitude to you and appreciation, distinguished experts from around the world gathered here in Rome in this room today, who will shape this conference in the coming days. In your contributions, you will not only share your knowledge, but also open spaces for reflection, for disagreement, and genuine dialogue. It is this collective commitment to think together across disciplines and perspectives that forms the true heart of our conference. We have chosen, Don Renzo has mentioned it, a very challenging title for this edition of our conference, Quid est homo, qui est homo, inspired by the ancient verse of an old psalm, Psalm 8, where a man looks up into the evening skies and asks, "What is man that you are mindful of him?" Now, I'm not so sure that we will be able to completely answer all these questions until tomorrow evening. We'll give it a shot. If we approach the first question, what is the human being in terms of structure, biology, and mechanisms, then it is primarily the natural sciences that give answers. And indeed, the life sciences are providing extraordinary answers. Advances in gene and cell-based therapies, regenerative medicine, translational medicine, biology, mechanisms. That's an incredible field where only a few decades ago we thought it was unimaginable to intervene into living systems, which is actually the case today. And the second question of our conference, who is the human being, cannot be answered by science alone. It's not a question for a single discipline or a single societal group. It touches the very core of our human condition. It asks about identity, about dignity, meaning, responsibility, and freedom. That's why everyone should be invited into the discourse, the sciences and the humanities, politics, the arts, their patients and their caregivers, the world's religions, and all those who wish to engage. In doing so, we echo Plato's very well-known anthropological declaration in the myth of Protagoras, that all human beings are equally talented and qualified to decide on issues of justice in society. Engineering life has brought us all to a crossroads, one that concerns every one of us. And it is precisely at this intersection that our conference seeks to create spaces for dialogue. Accordingly, this year's conference focuses on panel discussions and not so much on isolated lectures. At our NCCR Molecular Systems Engineering in Basel, we believe that art and molecule belong in dialogue with each other. This is why our ethics approach is called Art of Molecule. It echoes our conviction that ethical reflection on the engineering of life must go beyond academic disciplines alone. It comes as no surprise then that art plays a very prominent role in this conference also, not as entertainment or an accompanying program, but as an integral part of our discussion. The artistic contributions in our program are not side events, they are keynotes in their own right. Art invites us to explore questions that cannot be answered by science alone, nor by religion alone. We can and we should learn from the ways in which artists perceive and interpret, challenge, express the ongoing informations of the human condition, and all their perspectives to deepen our own reflection on the highly delicate and complex process of engineering life. This afternoon, we will have the great privilege of welcoming the acclaimed Canadian filmmaker David Cronenberg, whose work has explored for decades the shifting boundaries between body, technology, and identity, questions that resonate profoundly with the theme of this conference. And tomorrow evening, we will continue our dialogue in another artistic language, the language of music. At the intersection of East and West, rhythm and reflection, Turkish percussionist Burhan Öcal and Ukrainian pianist Alexei Botvinov will give a concert where different musical traditions meet. Perhaps music and cinema remind us in a very particularly profound way that the question what and who is the human being cannot be answered by analysis alone, but must also be explored through resonance, encounter, and shared experience. And it is precisely in this spirit that we now begin this conference by bringing together science, philosophy, religion, and the arts to reflect on one of the oldest and most pressing questions of our time. Quid est homo, qui est homo? Thank you very much and welcome to this conference.